IVM.
Do you often dream about leading a more creative life? Whether you wanted to be a painter, a dancer, a cricketer, or a photographer. Maybe you wanted to play games for a living. Growing up, financial responsibilities often take us away from our true passions. Now imagine if you could explore that creativity while still making sure that your family is financially secure. Find a way for the artist and the realist within us to coexist. करो पूरे अपने इरादे, अपनों से किए सभी वादे. SBI Life अपने लिए, अपनों के लिए. To know more about our insurance plans with wealth creation, log on to www.sbilife.co.in. IRDAI registration number 111.
This is Storytellers and Storysellers live on tape. You're listening to me, Vineet on the IVM Podcast Network. That's me, Vineet. This is the IVM Podcast Network, and you're listening to part 2 of our interview with Usha Uthup and journalist Srishti Jha. What a massive, fantastic conversation this was. Ushaji has always been someone I have looked up to as a musician. My mom has looked up to. Everyone I know has looked up to Usha Uthup. And to sit her down and have a conversation with her about her journey in her music and have that conversation go on, flow organically for such a long time, felt like a level up moment to me for this podcast. And I'm so grateful to everyone who makes this podcast possible, everyone who takes time out to talk to me, and especially Usha Uthup and Srishti Jha for the wonderful conversation. On this episode, you will hear her sing. You will hear her sing in Haryanvi. You will hear her sing in Russian. You will hear her sing in Ukrainian, as we take a moment to remember those who are stuck in conflict, as we are privileged to sit here in peace and talk about it. But that's it. No further ado. This is part 2 of the conversation with Usha Uthup and Srishti Jha on Storytellers and Storysellers with me, Vineet Kanabar. We talked about Ushaji's time as a young person beginning to find her own voice, literally and figuratively, and developing other aspects of her iconic personality and persona. Ushaji, I want to expand the ambit of your impact in this historical retracing from nightclubs to the Vidhan Bhavan in West Bengal, at least, or at least.
Well, it was, I was singing at Netaji Indoor Stadium.
Sure, please. No, over to you, over to you.
No, the thing is that I was asked by one of the singers, actors, one of the very senior actors at that time. Mm-hmm. When I'm talking about this is in 83 or 93, I think 83. Sure. And Mrs. Geeta De, she came up to me and she said, would I sing for the Thakur Pukur Cancer Center? And I said, of course I will. And I think this happened over the weekend. And we settled the dates and things like that. And obviously there were no commercials to talk about or anything because, it was for a charitable cause and for cancer research. And I said, yes, I would do it. Mm-hmm. The next thing I knew, fast forward to 2-3 days after that, Geeta De comes up again and she says that, ita hobe na. I said, why? So she said that the minister, Jatin Chakravarti, has put a ban on you and you can't sing in any government-owned halls. I said, what? And she showed me the newspaper. Oh, wow. And it was screaming headlines to say that Jatin Chakravarti finds Usha Uthup, the singer, her music decadent and a bad influence on the culture of West Bengal.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, I always have smart answers later in hindsight. At that time, I remember just crying and I was really upset about it. And so I decided that no, after some time, I said, no, this can't happen. I just went to Writers' Building where all the ministers sit. Okay. And I I stood outside Jatin Chakravarti's cabin for some time and he didn't call me in. And then when I did go in, he didn't ask me to even sit down over there. So I was busy crying and, then I asked him, I said, Dada, can I sit? He said, ha, just sit down. Like, it was quite terse and rude. So I sat down and I told him, I remember one smart thing that I did say. I said, who made you the Rakhwala of the culture of West Bengal? He was so angry with that. He was so angry. He said, you do anything, but you will not be given permission to sing in any of the government owned halls. You can do anything. Take me to court if you want, which is what I did.
Mhm.
One of our friends, my husband's friends, Deepu Roy Chaudhary, his father was Shubhrata Roy Chaudhary, who had taken up Indira Gandhi's case and won it for her. Very, very famous man. So I went to him and I said, Dada, please help me. And he said, why are you bothered about all this? I said, no, I want to do something about it. And I rang up my father also. And my father said, yes, you must fight for fundamental rights. So we filed a writ petition, and yeah, it was quite something. I mean, while it was happening, while the court case was happening, I think that whole thing is there, isn't it? The court case.
We also have the remarkable, the judgment that actually came in, in your favor, and the words were just crafted so beautifully. And actually, one of the highlights was that freedom of speech and hearing are inseparable.
Absolutely.
And it's actually like the two sides of the same coin. And artists cannot be, sort of like restricted to capacity. And even though, all these, sort of like medium of music like pop songs and the Western influences, even though, they're coming from the West, but they have found home in India. And there's nothing wrong in that. So the judgment, in itself, the way it was worded, it was absolutely remarkable. And it has actually set a standard for the future as, how you really kind of, sort of fight your battle. And
the funny thing is he used a word called Opushamskriti, which there is no word like that, I believe. There is only a Shamskriti and anything that went anti Shamskriti. So he just made up his own word and said, you're up Opushamskriti or whatever. And so, Jyoti Babu, who was the then chief minister, he walked out of the case and he said, I've got nothing against Usha Uthup, and she's done such a lot of good work for the government, for all of us. And she's done so many charities, blah, blah, blah. He was all on my side. And everybody in the ministry was. And the media was 100% with me. And of course, the people were all with me, because there I was, wearing the sari the way I do. And okay, like you said about the Western music influence, what about Mujra? What about so many Hindi songs? What about so many other language, regional songs which have double meanings and this and that? See, if the rubbish is in your head, it's not my fault. No?
Absolutely.
I mean, the same song which he banned, which the whole thing happened was Koi Yahan Aha Nache Nache. If it was made like a bhajan for Lord Krishna, then it would be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, koi yahan, I don't know. I must make a a parody on that and say koi yahan aha nache nache, koi wahan aha nache nache, sare hasi sare gopiyan nache nache. Then it would be fine. But it was depicted in but the funny thing is, one of the points which he said, which Shubhrata Roy Chaudhary said, was that if the film Disco Dancer could have passed the censor board, then how can you take something that is within that and ban it? You see? So it was really something. But through those days, it was really, because I kept thinking, so much of introspection I did. And I thought to myself, am I doing the right thing? Am I singing the right kind of songs? Should I be more careful about the kind of, because I am somebody's daughter, I'm somebody's mother, I'm somebody's wife, I'm somebody's sister. I thought of all these things, that am I sending out the right signals? It meant a lot to me. It meant a real huge amount to me. And for everything, like my father said, ask yourself the question, who am I? Where did I come from? I come from middle class morality, middle class upbringing. And we were never told that this song was good or this song is bad. We never, my parents never said that, Jab Pyar Kiya To Darna. That was an iconic song and it was a rebellious song for, all the girls who were in love at that time.
All out rebellion.
Pyar Kiya Koi Chori Nahi. Like that, So there is so many songs, and I feel that if you don't like something, don't go there. Don't
change
go
the channel.
that road.
Don't listen to it.
And don't go that road. Why do you want to go that road? If you don't like somebody in, skimpy clothes, I agree that there's a time and place for everything. So having said that, and knowing that I am a public person, I started asking myself, am I giving the right signals? And nowhere did I find that I was in the wrong. So I got more and more and more and more strength through
And you
the
had the
days.
law standing by you. I mean, at the end of the day, the law came out on your side. I want to ask you
Yes.
this. Did you ever perchance meet the gentleman again, Mr. Jatin
Oh,
Chakrabarti?
yes, we became friends.
Oh, wow.
We became friends after that. Wherever I would go, I would. Oh, let me tell you one thing, which I was really quite amazed by. All this fight in the court and my lord, and it really it was like what you see in the films, okay? And my learned friend and all that jargon that they use. And suddenly, when you're coming back in the elevator, these two lawyers who were fighting with each other over there were so friendly and saying, "Kahan jaake chai pee lete hain?" I said, "What, Dada? You're just fighting with this man." He said, "That's how it is. This is our profession." So,
Right.
so I learned at that time that there are so many things when you are 100% professional, just because, and this has made me think very, very, very deeply, even about, though I'm a very apolitical person, I'm very, very non-controversial, but it made me think very loudly in my mind that just because somebody doesn't agree with you doesn't mean he's your enemy.
Yeah.
And I wish our political people would think like that as well.
Absolutely.
That if somebody has another point of view, it could just be another point of view. It doesn't have to be that that he's your enemy or she's your enemy.
Yeah.
So Jatin Babu, until the end, I mean, when I was going abroad, I would bring cigars for him because he would only smoke those cigars. And his wife became very friendly with me. But till his dying day, he said, I don't like your music.
Right.
It was okay with me. He said, you must sing Rabindra Sangeet. And he is singularly the first and the only reason why I really took up to Rabindra Sangeet and made it happen. Okay, I had 3 bestsellers in Anand Bazar Patrika and Desh magazine, which is a really big thing. And it was only because of him. And he released my album, by the way, for Rabindra Sangeet. So, till the end, he stood his ground that I shouldn't be singing those kind of songs, but to sing these kind of songs. But even these kind of songs can be very, very romantic and can be very, very, very sensuous. So many songs. And but because it's Rabindra Sangeet, for me, there are certain songs, of Rabindranath Tagore, which are so, so romantic, so gentle, so sensual, so beautiful. It all depends on your own mindset, how you think about it. And so this gave me an insight into that, people can have different opinions. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. If you have the courage to face your own conviction, it's okay.
I love it. Absolutely. I want to round off this segment by asking you about one of your enduring collaborators, Bapida Papilairi, the icon of Indian music, whether it's film music or pop music. Again, one of those people who transcends the spectrum of what is considered Indian music, right? Whether it's in languages, whether it's in genre, type of music, stuff like that. He passed recently. How do you look back at that sort of creative
working with Bapida, also
working
with, I would say, with R.D. Burman,
right?
Because both these, I mean, especially R.D. Burman was, with whom I worked a song like Shan and, amazing song like Shan. Mm-hmm. There's no show without Shan, just like there's no show without Hari Om Hari or Rambaho or Papidas. Right. So I would say where disco is concerned, where Western music influenced music, I would say R.D. Burman. But even before R.D. Burman, there was C. Ramchandra and, so many people who did Mera Naam, Chin Chin Chu, Chin Chin Chu. Now that's ancient, okay? That's really ancient, right. Almost 50, 60 years gone. And those were all inspired by Western rock and roll music, okay? Absolutely. Then, of course, R.D. Burman was so amazingly inspired by Western music that his chord progressions and his the way he used bass guitar, everything was so different. In that same way, I would say, I'm putting it in short. If this was a different, it was a different platform to discuss that. Maybe we can do that separately. But about music itself. But where Bapida is concerned, he's definitely the person who brought disco music into our country.
Absolutely.
I mean, there's no two ways about it. The king of disco, or whatever they call him. I'm the first person who always said that, he is truly the person who brought that kind of music into our industry, really. And it's funny. It's really funny. I mean, maybe you can tell me about it, Vineet or Srishti. Why is it that in our industry, everything has to have it's a benchmark? I mean, if you don't do, लेकिन उन्होंने सिर्फ disco music किए. Why? What is so bad about it, yeah? How did ABBA stay? How did Boney M stay? How did Pink Floyd in their genre stay? I mean, what's wrong in that? Everybody doesn't have to compose music like, say, Bob Dylan. Everybody doesn't have to be like Stevie Wonder. Everybody's got their own, their own genres. And this thing in our country is like that. उन्होंने सिर्फ थोड़े ना डिस्को म्यूजिक किए, कितने मेलोडी म्यूजिक किए. अरे he made some wonderful music like चलते चलते मेरे ये गीत याद. What a song that is. What a song is चिरदिनी तुम्ही जे अमार. Beautiful melody.
Beautiful.
What about माना हो तुम by Yesudas, Dr. K.J. Yesudas. माना हो तुम behad. What a melody that is. But my point is, why do we have to bring something down to bring something up? Why? Why do you have to? This is really funny. I can't figure it out. You have to show some guitar player as a fantastic guitar player. So you say somebody else is not so good. Why?
I think it's a predilection for this kind of comparison, right? I mean,
no, you can. I just can't figure it out.
Society functions like that. The Indian society has been functioning on this, on this thought process for a really long time. It's not only particular to a certain industry, but even in like families, like how certain generations are brought up. There's always a sense of comparison, and there's always a sense of you are not good enough.
That's really crazy.
That creates a lot of pressure across generations, and that's why we are where we are.
And even you'll see, even in the reality shows, everybody has to sing Lata Ji Mangeshkar's show. I mean, a song. Has to sing Aaja Re Pardesi, or, one of those songs, okay? It has to be. Only then you are considered, it's a benchmark. Only then you are considered, okay. My point always has been, when I've been a judge, I hate using the word judge, when I've been their friend or guide on a reality show, I'm the only one who said, listen to the song beautifully and very well, and then build upon it and give it your flavor. Because no one can sing like her, no one can sing like Hariharan, no one can sing like Sunidhi or like Shreya Ghoshal, or like, no one can sing like Kishore Kumar. No one can sing like anybody else, by you just sing like yourself. And I would say it like that. You put your chap on it, Why does it have to be that you have to say? So where Bapi Lahiri is concerned, even all the interviews that when he passed, it was so sad that not even one place I felt where, excepting myself, who kept saying, he was he's truly the person who started this whole trend. And, but everybody said, और उनके melody गाने, okay, that's great. We're talking about him, and the innovation melody has always been with us. Whether you talk about Naushad Ji or, right from the word go, everything has been like that. But for me, if you really want to talk about classical music or Indian classical music, I would say Indian classical music is a way of life. And it is all monophonic. Yeah.
Right.
It's only one note on the harmonium. It was only people like Salil Chaudhary and everybody who brought in, if you put in a chord, if you put in another note along with that thing, it becomes polyphonic and it becomes Western, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because only Western music had chords, Indian music did not. Indian classical music did not. So, we get into another discussion altogether. But where
I would love to have that discussion.
But where Bapi Lahiri is concerned, truly, there is no two ways about it. his usage of bass lines, his usage of the arpeggio or the space drum. Doi, 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 doi.
Oh man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was, people made fun of it at that time. And I feel very badly about it, actually, that he wasn't given his due when he was alive. It was always that, I would say, it was always looked down, not down. I mean, somehow that disco thing was not appreciated.
Right.
Yeah,
Right. I think
not as
disco,
much as it should have, actually.
overall, I think that's the treatment that disco gets in when you look back. Like, of course, ABBA and Boney M, you do have it, but contemporary music from that time, disco always feels like it's given that short shrift. Now I think there's a massive disco
What about
revival
DJs are
overall.
doing DJs are doing full disco?
Oh, all the time. All the time,
That is
absolutely.
it, yeah.
But we do tend to look down on DJs as well, right? When you look at musicians, and then there's this entire perspective that, oh hey, he's a DJ, he's just pushing some buttons, but an actual musician is playing music. There is
But then
that
A
entire
good
sentiment as
DJ,
well.
my God, how
Yeah,
much of work
absolutely.
goes into it?
Absolutely.
How
A
much
good
of
DJ,
work?
producer, absolutely.
Yeah, no, I also
Fantastic.
feel that, like how we look at the traditional form of music and how we look at the contemporary form of music. It's also about that at times, like I've heard people saying that like it's very easy to make something like a contemporary track, or it's just happening and all, but you're enjoying it. It's just that it also creates, sort of like a certain level of emotion, all sorts of emotions, in like, I mean, different people. So I feel that, there's this, like a thing associated with, I mean, contemporary genres of music that, oh yeah, it's a disco song, ye to aise hi ho jayega. It's like that.
I
But
know, that's
it's not
so
wrong.
sad.
Yeah, the notion
It's
is
so sad.
it's very wrong, Like if you've heard some, sort of like great music in that particular dimension, it's absolutely outstanding, and there's so much to it.
Oh
know,
man,
that-
I mean,
whether it's
Like
everything from the
Rambaho, like
yeah.
Rambaho, to get the repeat, to see, actually, I didn't say, I said Rambaho and left it, okay?
Yeah.
The the repeat was done by electronic, I mean, it was a Roland machine, which had, it was called a delay machine in those days. And we had a guy called Cyril who was doing, sound systems and things. He brought that into Mehboob studio. We sat on the floor, and Bapida made me say, of course, he said it, and then he went away inside. But I was the one who sat over there. And with, to fix the sound, I mean, Rambaho. So then when you fix the speed, it came sometimes as Rambaho, or it would go as Rambaho, oh. So, to fix that thing, it took so much of time. Do people realize that? People don't know how much of work he put into it. And he was so inspired by his father and mother, Bapida, that he had this whole folk medium in his hand. He was so good, which is why he came up with so many songs that were folk-based, like Uri Baba, one of my biggest hit songs, okay? Uri Baba. I mean, it's there mixed with his terrific drum and bass line, and the kick that he used was totally different, And he was also made, I don't think so many other music directors appreciated him. You see, so that feeling was also there with him for such a long time. But I mean, what is the truth is the truth. You just have to accept it, And even today, there is no show where people don't ask me for Hari Om Hari or Rambaho or Nakabandi. Without Nakabandi, especially in Bengal, there is no, and it's a Sri Devi song, okay? So after doing your whole concert, purposely, I leave one song out, okay? And wait for them to shout for it. So, and they've got a special way of shouting for it, Srishti. I wish you had seen the Pada show, which I did yesterday in Biliaghata. It was my first show, actually, during COVID. So when I went out, and it's the same sound. You do all the sound, and they're so wonderful. They respond to you, and whenever I say, Pratham, I'll sing the first line, you sing the second line, and they fantastic. Till the end, then they say, Nakabandi, ready to fight. And then I start Nakabandi. So, without Bapida's songs, without R.D. Burman's songs, for me, there's no show, really. So the people are the ones who really make your show, isn't it? Without them, it's not possible. So, and as I always say,
that these songs have. There's so much joy in these songs.
So much joy. That's what I say. And he was really a simple man.
In a corner. You just have to be into the song. Like, Rambha was all about joy, or, like, for example, Koi Yahan Nache Nache, or a Darling, or a Nakabandi. These are
really,
it's just so much happiness, so much fun. Like,
so much fun.
Get you to the next level of it.
You got to move with these songs.
Yeah,
And
you have to move. You can't be
whatever
sitting
happens,
and sulking when you're listening to Rambhao and crying about something. It will change.
I know, and it's so strange. They would all say, what? There was this man called Shankar Banerjee, okay?
Right.
He was a fantastic mimic. Srishti, it was just so funny. I'd gone for one of the shows where Mannada was singing, Mannade was singing, and Shankar Banerjee was before that. He was just a filler or whatever, but brilliant comedian, okay? He didn't know I was in this show. He didn't know I was in the audience, okay? And he started his mimicry. And he said, in Bengali, he said, आजकल क्या हो रहा है देखिए कैसे वो जो कुकुर है ना HMV का, the HMV logo with the dog looking in at the loudspeaker. He said, आजकल की होच्छे बोलो तो ओए कुकुर बोलছে हो শুচ্ছে একো আসছে. I just thought it was such a fantastic observation that the dog was looking into the thing and the echo was coming out as
but really he didn't have a sense of what to say when.
He didn't. So then you should have seen his face when the interval I went to see Mannada at backstage, and Shankar Banerjee was there, and Dada, that is Shankar Dada. He looked at me and, oh ma, tumi esheche amar program e, amai khoma korbe. I said, no, I enjoyed it. Please don't feel bad. But he said another fantastic one. He said, आजकल क्या हो रहा है गाने में? अपने गाने गाते हैं और अपने खुद बोलते हैं आहा आहा. You know which one? There was another song, Aha, Nazia Hassan's. Aha,
right.
Disco Divane.
Disco Divane, of course.
Aha, Nijer Gaan bolche. Aha, aha.
He's just trying to save face, after what he said.
Oh, it was such a different take on the whole thing, So it was good fun. Yeah, but without Rambha and without, it's the people finally. As I always say, the song is much bigger than the singer. Much bigger. And these songs will be sung forever and ever and ever, like all good songs are.
We also have a chapter on Rambha, and it's actually one of the most amazing chapters in the book. And it talks about how the song came into being and voice to the song, and how Rambha, remains timeless. And even for the generations to come, they are going to enjoy that song with the same zeal and, with the same, levels of joy. Like the other day, I was in my room and I immediately texted Ushaji that, I can hear Rambha Ho, being played at a party. And, they're like these teenagers, they're dancing with joy. So about that,
what about all the puja functions? Ganesh Utsav has to have Koi Yahan Nache Nache and this song. And in here, Durga Puja without Uri Baba and without Rambha Ho, Hari Om Hari, it's not going.
These
and the
songs
funny
are like the markers of time, and you can just keep on revisiting a particular time with, with the music. And her songs are like that.
Absolutely love it.
Yeah, that's what I say.
It is at this moment that I have to come in and be the bad guy. Talking to the two of you is like looking at an encyclopedia of Indian music, right? Ushaji, of course, with your experience and just the names that you talk of, they're icons, some of them well known, some of them a little bit unknown, all of whom deserve their own sort of discussion. But it's so wonderful that you have such a clear memory of
it's so wonderful to be able to say that, hey, I'm so grateful to God that I live to tell the tale, that I'm one of those who has had the opportunity of performing on the same stage as Kishore Kumar, Mannada, Mohammed Rafi, Runa Laila. You name it. How lucky am I? How lucky am I? And having experienced people like Lata ji and Asha ji, how lucky. And then to say today that I'm there even to say, Nikita Gandhi is singing
which
next.
Really, absolutely, yeah.
And Jonita Gandhi is singing next, or Shreya Ghoshal. I'm really blessed. What is the the range of the people that I have met, or when Arijit Singh, we did the Gurukul when he was in that. I mean, there's nobody to touch Arijit Singh today. I mean, he's so fantastic. Okay, he's so brilliant. But for me to be able to say, to live to tell the tale, yeah, and in the South also, and the people from Assam and the people from Bihar, and so many wonderful. Nobody believed me when I said that I had this was must have been sometime in 1982, I think, maybe 83, 82, when I said that I have 2 shows in Bihar, and everybody said, "What? In Bihar, people like your music?" I said, "Why? Why would you?"
There's a huge fan base in Bihar.
Yeah,
I must know that. Yeah.
But you weren't even born then, my darling Srishti.
No, but I've heard stories.
Yeah.
Like my father hasn't, sort of like he has literally gone through everything and anything.
I know.
Through the
And
entire
can you
journey
imagine?
of,
That is the most visited state of mine, okay, in Bihar.
Oh, wow.
I mean, those of you who don't know much about Bihar, let me tell you, I have been to places like Betia, Katihar, Motihari, Sitamarhi, a place called Lohardaga, which you would never imagine. I mean, I've been to every place in Bihar. And people think, how in Bihar? But Bihar has very discerning music people,
Right.
They love their music. And Assam, I mean, from upper Assam to lower east to west of the Brahmaputra, I've done in such detail, you can't even begin to imagine where all I have been. And it's all been only because of the fantastic fact that we're all Indian and we have a basic foundation of 17 wonderful languages.
Absolutely.
And my advice to all singers, I've said it to Shreya, I've said it to Sunidhi, I've said it to Sonu Nigam, and of course Sonu has done so many amazing Kannada songs as well. Maybe people in the north don't even know, but even Shreya Ghoshal. But I've always said, expand your horizon because we have the advantage of 17 basic languages. I went all over India only because, and I still go, only because of language. Because I have so many hit songs in Assamese or, 3 or 4 good Bhojpuri songs. Or if I go to Punjab, Amritsar, everywhere, I have good Punjabi songs to sing. Goa, I have so many Konkani songs. So it all adds up.
I don't think there's a Konkani wedding without your songs.
No, definitely
I don't think there isn't one. Ushaji, you said you were fortunate to have experienced all of this. I think we are the most fortunate to have an icon like you who's really taken Indian music as a canvas, whether it's in languages, whether it's in genres, whether it's in expression. Super, super fortunate to have you literally doing path-breaking things for 4.5, 5 decades now, and still continuing to do that. I think the fact that you talked about performing locally yesterday or doing shows or collaborating, you're still with it, you're still with the times, and it gives me so much joy to talk to a real icon.
It's been wonderful. It's been wonderful talking to you, Vineet, and also to have Srishti. The thing is, the one fantastic thing you'll notice is that one never thinks of age. Look at Srishti, Vineet, and me. I mean, and the people who would probably be listening to you. There is no. I've never thought of numbers. I'm not a numbers person, and which is why I don't get moved when people say, "Oh, how many songs have you sung?" In my whole life, maybe I've done about 1,000 songs, recording, in all the languages. Not like 30, 40,000. It's not a question of that. It's how many really you can touch with so few. Like Frank Sinatra did only 300 songs in his whole lifetime. Or why did Beethoven, compose only that many symphonies? There are so few. Because after a certain point, you get saturated, isn't it? To create also. You can't create more than what your mind or your soul allows. So for me, it's been a non-numbers game. And I think as far as age is concerned, I think the fantastic thing is that nobody thinks of the age when one gets to talking. And I think that is one of our biggest strengths. And I think we should all remember that all the time, that when you make time your friend, you can really connect with people. Really.
I love it. I love it. I'm not going to let you go from this episode without a bit of a performance. I think you've regaled us over the years with such wonderful hits. I'm going to put this to you as a question, and maybe that'll prompt which song from
Okay.
your playlist. But Ushaji, what would be the one song that you would leave behind to young artists as your
Okay,
musical legacy?
not the song. Okay, let me just tell you that
Mhm.
it's not really a song that I would want to leave behind.
Sure.
What I would like to leave behind for people, I mean, for the younger generation, is an amazing thing, an amazing thought. Okay,
Sure.
since I've already told you that I don't believe in age, and I don't think that's necessary to believe in age. I would say there are a couple of songs which have really moved me uh, through the years. One of the songs that recently has moved me is that beautiful song. Actually, it was by the Brahma Kumaris. I never knew that. I was sent the song, you won't believe, from a jazz group. Okay.
Right.
And it says, Ye mat kaho khuda se, meri mushkilein badi hain. Mushkilon se keh do, mera khuda bada hai. And it's been such an eye opener for me because that's what I've always believed in, but could never say it so beautifully. So that's a song which has really inspired me. But more than anything else, let me tell you that one song which was given to me just like that in the morning message moved me so much because I really believed in it. Okay. It says, it was given to me by Mrs. Jha. Okay, was sent to me, and maybe she doesn't even think of it so important. Maybe she did. She just sent it just like that. Okay, but for me, it's really my guideline. It's been with me for all my life. All my life, I've believed in it, but could never say it so spasht. It's a Haryanvi song, and it says, "Bhajan karo bhari jawani mein, budhapa kisne dekha hai." What kind of words is that? So when I think about it, I keep talking about in every motivational speech of mine, whether it's with Microsoft or whether it's with any corporate, okay, anybody, I'm always saying that, that whatever you want to do, do it now. Do it now, because there may not be another moment for you to do it. You see, in this song, it says, "Bhajan karo bhari jawani mein, budhapa kisne dekha hai. बुढ़ापे में अंधे हो जाओगे, दर्श तुम कर ना पाओगे, दर्श करो भरी जवानी में, बुढ़ापा किसने देखा है." And when I say this, I really wish I could do a song like this in English. I mean, we probably have to ask Srishti to write it or something, or maybe you can write it. But can I sing that for you?
Please, absolutely.
Oh,
You would
why
love
not?
it.
It's just a brilliant song. And Mrs. Jha, when I say, is actually Srishti's mother. So she probably and nobody knew the connect. Okay. I mean, I don't know how this whole
I have
connect
no
came
idea about
about,
this
but
song.
this song is just made for everybody. Whatever you want to do, do it now. Who's seen Budhapa? So even if you're 85 years old and you have to do something, you haven't seen Budhapa, do it now. So if you're 85 or if you're 18, what difference does it make? You want to do something?
Just do it.
Do it now.
Absolutely.
I love it.
भजन करो भरी जवानी में, बुढ़ापा किसने देखा से। भजन करो भरी जवानी में, बुढ़ापा किसने देखा से। भजन करो भरी जवानी में, बुढ़ापा किसने देखा से। भजन करो भरी जवानी में, बुढ़ापा किसने देखा से।
Now, Vineet, this is the essence of life, really.
बुढ़ापे में अंधे हो जाओगे, बुढ़ापे में अंधे हो जाओगे, दर्श किसने देखा से भजन करो भरी जवानी में बुढ़ापा किसने देखा से बुढ़ापे के लंगड़े हो जाओगे बुढ़ापे के लंगड़े हो जाओगे तीरथ तुम करना पाओगे तीरथ तुम करना पाओगे तीरथ करो भरी जवानी में बुढ़ापा किसने देखा से तीरथ करो भरी जवानी में बुढ़ापा किसने देखा से भजन करो भरी जवानी में बुढ़ापा किसने देखा से भजन करो भरी जवानी में बुढ़ापा किसने देखा से
It also teaches you to respect elders, yeah, and help them do what they want to do and what they believe in. Listen to the next one.
बुढ़ापे में बहरे हो जाओगे बुढ़ापे में बहरे हो जाओगे भजन तुम सुनना पाओगे भजन तुम सुनना पाओगे भजन सुनो भजन सुनो भजन सुनो भरी जवानी में बुढ़ापा किसने देखा से भजन सुनो भरी जवानी में बुढ़ापा किसने देखा से भजन करो भरी जवानी में बुढ़ापा किसने देखा से भजन करो भरी जवानी में बुढ़ापा किसने देखा से
And when you want to give now. Tomorrow will be too late. Just give. Just give all that you've got. Share it. Love it.
बुढ़ापे में तुम हो जाओगे बुढ़ापे में तुम हो जाओगे दान तुम करना पाओगे दान तुम करना पाओगे दान करो दान करो दान करो मेरी जवानी में बुढ़ापा किसने देखा से दान करो मेरी जवानी में बुढ़ापा किसने देखा से भजन करो भरी जवानी में बुढ़ापा किसने देखा से भजन करो भरी जवानी में बुढ़ापा किसने देखा से
Yeah. It's a
That was
sad song.
amazing. It
It's
is a
sad,
sad song.
happy.
It's a
You know what I
beautiful
mean?
song. Yeah.
Sad and happy, because I don't think people really know the value of this moment now. Don't think that anybody is old, or, So whatever you want to do, if you want to give something, daan karna hai, do it now. Don't think, oh, 2 दिन के बाद करेंगे, 10 दिन के बाद नहीं. जो देना है अब दो. And for me, that's so important. Yeah, it's such a fantastic song. I don't even know if your mother ever thinks or knows how important. Maybe you can tell her what an
Yeah.
important part of my life it is. Yeah, it's really a philosophy, isn't it, Vineet?
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, so it's such a moving sort of juxtaposition of the lyrics with the melody and the music behind it.
Yeah.
But the lyrics are really
Lyrics are
powerful.
really
Simple,
beautiful.
and yeah, it's very kind of, it has a very clear message, and
Yeah.
we all actually value the like the whole idea of like now, in the moment, and
Now.
do it now.
And also
Right now.
the fact that we really don't, not many of us really respect elders, and we think that just because they've become old, they can't go on a tirath, they can't do this, so they can't do that. Encourage everybody to do everything now.
Mhm.
Encourage the moment now. which is all we have in our lives, really. And I think that's, for me, very, very important. It's really my,
It's a
yeah,
beautiful
my,
reminder at the beginning of this week, and we all can maybe think in that direction.
yes. And I think,
Even this moment.
there's really no time. Sometimes I wonder, aren't people satisfied with, one of my songs, which is Blowing in the Wind, which I've been doing regularly now, especially, aren't people fed up of how much COVID has taken away from us? How many people, and all that they can do is have a war, Russia and Ukraine. What's with everybody? What's with people? Where's that moment? Where's that moment where you really respect life, where you are human? Just last week we were saying we're all in the same boat. We've all lost people. We've all gone through COVID. We've all gone through this. We're all the same. We're one world. Heal the world. I've been singing songs, and next minute you hear, war between Russia and it's crazy, really crazy. And when I went to Russia and then to Kiev as well, everybody was singing the same song. Whether what I was singing in Russian and what I was singing in the Ukrainian folk song, everybody was singing. Then what happened? What happened to that moment? What happened? Where's it gone? And then we say the answer, my friend, is blowing in the wind. The answer is blowing in the wind. We all know the answers, but I don't
wow, that was a moment to bring this episode to a close. I'm getting emotional, which is very
yes, that's true.
It's a difficult moment for sure. I mean, with what's going on around the world with COVID, but I think it is at moments like this when, and it's such a cliche to say it, but sometimes you talk about cliches because cliches are true. It's the power of music that takes.
Of course,
gives
I'm telling
hope.
you, this Ukrainian song, which I sent to all of them, was such a big hit. I mean, I don't know if it's a good thing to say. Maybe you can edit it out. I don't know. But I had every Russian in the audience singing that song, and nobody cared. Everybody just sang with me. Which part of the world they came from, it didn't matter. And even this song, Kalinka, Kalinka, Kalinka Maya, Sadhuyaga Malinka, Malinka Maya, Kalinka, Kalina, Kalinka, Kalina, Kalinka, Kalinka, Kalinka Maya. This is Russian. And of course, the song, Darling, aako se aankhein char karne do. Okay, because there was a Russian husband who I was supposed to have killed. Oh, sad. Yeah.
We also saw a chapter on, actress Usha and her stint with, cinema and
lovely
on the big parda as an actor.
Yeah.
You'll read
So
about
there was this Russian song that everybody sang from whichever part of the Soviet Union, or in those days it was called Soviet Union and Russia, whichever, wherever they came from, they all sang this song with me, okay? And then they all sang the Ukrainian song, which goes, Tika zala foni dilo pidam razum povarvinak ya proshofte benema pidmanula pidvella tijmena pidmanula tijmena pidvella tijmena molodoho zumaru zumusvella tijmena pidmanu, and everybody was singing, And then what happened? What happened? Why this sudden divorce and wanting to fight? And it's just, I think ours is a generation that has seen it all, really. Really seen it all. And I feel sorry for the really little children, We really have to leave a better world for them before we all go. Children who are much, 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 much younger than Srishti and you also, Vineet. Little kids, like school kids. They're part of their school bag, besides the lunchbox, is the sanitizer, masks. So sad. That's the way life is.
Tough world we're living in.
In the tough.
But we will take this episode and this book and your life, Ushaji, as a message of hope, as a message of
Absolutely.
going forward, and doing the things that you think are right and standing by those things that you think are right, even if it is whether it's Mr. Jatin Chakravarti or it's Mr. Putin or it's Corona. I think there are beacons of hope who live among us.
You ask her what messages I send every day. Every day I'm thinking of new messages to send where you just cannot. And in all these days, I have never ever used the word positive, because the word positive is the most negative word today. So I always say, think optimist, be an optimist. And so
I love it.
And I'd love for you, Vineet and Srishti, to know, or, to say that there will never be a moment like this. It's got to be. This has to be the best. Yeah.
Absolutely.
For me, it has to be the best. And there's no mediocrity, no place for mediocrity in my life, really.
And this conversation has just been so much, it's just been so much fun. It's like walk down the memory lane, sort of like me going back to, sort of like when I was translating, Ushaji revisiting all those decades, Vineet in conversation with us. I think it was a beautiful conversation, and a conversation that I'll always remember. So,
Thank you, Srishti.
I had a great time.
Thank you so much.
And yes, like we spoke so much.
I mean, after a point,
it's
I told my producer,
are you mad? Now go, Vineet.
I just told my producer, listen, there is no time limit on this episode. We're just doing this because this is like Ushaji, you said, special moment that just belongs to us, and I really want to share it with my listeners. Maybe we'll do 2 episodes out of this. I don't know right now, but
episodes. Because you shouldn't make it too long. Make it nice and tight and crisp, and make it maybe 3 episodes where there's a strain of thought which goes right through. I don't know, what's your birth sign, Vineet?
I am a Virgo.
Well, she's different. I'm different. I'm Scorpio.
Right.
I'm a Capricorn.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. So still second half of the year. We'll take that.
And you are September when?
I am September 14th.
14th. My husband is September 4th. So I guess are you married?
Yes, I am. I'm very, very happily married for 5 years now.
I'd love to talk to her because Virgo husband, very difficult husbands. They laugh with everybody else except with their wives.
I think this quarter in particular will stay with Vineet.
No, I'm trying my best to be as less Virgo as possible. I've heard that there are some traits that need working.
No, but let me tell you something. My husband is Virgo, but he's just unbelievable. If he wasn't there in my life, I would never be able to be who I am, really. So you didn't ask the quintessential question. So how does he help you? I say by not helping. He has never interfered.
I'm taking notes right away.
Yeah. Right away, yeah.
He has never interfered in my life, and he's just his own man, really. And thank God. Now when I think, in 10 years of marriage, I used to say, oh, what's happened to us? There's no communication. We don't talk. All that rubbish I used to say. Now I say, thank God. And, he used to put the newspaper down and say, okay, talk. What's there to talk? So,
and what isn't there to talk? If the past hour and a half is to go by, there is a lot to talk about. Thank you so much, Ushaji, and thank you, Srishti. Thank you to your dad, Mr. Vivek Jha, for this beautiful.
Vikas
really, I'm so sorry, Mr. Vikas Jha, my dad, for putting together this beautiful book. I've read like the first part of it. All in all, it looks like a fan's ode to Ushaji. He starts talking from a point where it was so hard to get access to Ushaji, and then the detail to which he goes to, it's just super. Please go out and buy this book.
Here. So, apart from this book being Ushaji's story, this is also the story of a modern, progressive Tamilian family and all those people, who made Ushaji into who Ushaji is. So the story is very branched, and you will come across some beautiful stories. A great father, a great mother, sort of like beautiful siblings, and a lot of people who played a significant role in Ushaji's life and, sort of like shaped her identity. And all these people are really amazing and unique in their own ways.
Absolutely. And it is a book worthy of recapturing the life and times of Usha Uthup. I would leave it at that. Please go out, buy the book, read it, tell people about the legend that is Usha Uthup, and listen to this episode. I mean, tell your friends about this episode. It is a riot. Absolutely. Once again, Usha Uthup ji, Srishti, thank you so much.
Thank you so
for
much.
Thank you
spending
so
this
much.
time with me. It was an absolute pleasure. I am leaving behind so many questions, but I hope to have you back here talking about music some other time. Thank you so much. Thank
we'll
you
do
all
that.
for
Keep
listening.
in touch.
Thank you.
That's it on this episode of Storytellers and Storysellers. This is me, Vineet Kanabar, saying goodbye.
Hey everybody, it's been another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. On this round is on me. Gauri has a conversation on building a sustainable luxury travel ecosystem with entrepreneur Jaisal Singh. On the Wire Talks, Siddharth asks American philosopher Jason Stanley to decode his book, How Fascism Works, The Politics of Us and Them. On The Longest Constitution, Priya explains the concept of invisible work and how Javed Akhtar and the copyright law are connected. On Postcards from Nowhere, Utsav tells us an interesting story that connects West Indies cricket, jackals, and Mariamman temples. And on All Things Policy, the Takshashila folk look into the Ukraine-Russia conflict and its associated geopolitics. So, on a personal note, I wanted to let you all know that this week marks the 7th anniversary since I started IVM. I'm eternally grateful to the team we have here, especially Kavita Rajwade and Tejas Sringarpure, who have been here since the beginning. They've seen the struggles, our eventual acquisition by Pratilipi, and our continued struggles to make podcasting a large and thriving part of the media industry. We have the best hosts in the world, and I have to say that I'm so glad and so grateful that they have chosen to work with us. And finally, I'd like to say thank you to you, the millions of folks who have heard or watched our content. All I can say is, you ain't seen nothing yet. I hope you join us as we continue this journey. In the meanwhile, do follow us on social media. We're IVM Podcasts on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And remember, if you're enjoying this show or any of our other shows for that matter, please do tell a friend. Also, don't forget to rate us on any platform you're listening to. You can also check us out on YouTube. To get a list of all of our channels, you can go to ivmpodcast.com/YouTube, where you can go to all the channels. And finally, we'd like to thank our sponsors this week, SBI Life Insurance, Bank of Baroda, Max Life Insurance, India Water Portal, and HDFC Life Insurance. Thank you so much for making this possible.
Do you wonder why China does the things that it does? Or want to know how we could improve online privacy? Or perhaps you're thinking about how we can kickstart India's economy. If you'd like to search for the answers to such questions, check out All Things Policy, a daily public policy podcast that covers everything from employment figures to aircraft carriers. Tune in from Monday to Friday for new episodes and fresh takes.